We were lucky enough to have a friend show us around New York City, and he insisted on meeting us at a bar that has one of the mottos of, "We were here before you were born."
True. Join us as we explore one of the oldest pubs in New York City, which is also the oldest Irish pub in America, McSorley's Old Ale House. And I'm Adam.
We're the couple behind In the Great Wide, and McSorley's is the oldest continuously operating pub in New York City, and it is the oldest Irish pub in the United States.
It was opened in 1854 by Irish immigrant John McSorley, who eventually ended up owning the entire 5-story tenement building that was built on top of the pub 10 years after he opened it.
It's insane to think about New York City being single story.
Yeah.
That's how old this bar is.
It's just weird to me to think that the pub opened before the Civil War and they added the apartment buildings after.
Oh.
It's weird.
John's son, Bill, took over from his father in 1911 and kept McSorley's open through the Prohibition by selling what he called near beer, which didn't have enough alcohol in it to be considered illegal.
After 25 years of running the place, Bill sold the bar to Daniel O'Connell, a patron and local policeman, in 1936.
Then 3 years later, Daniel unfortunately passed away, and his daughter Dorothy took over the bar in 1939.
Now, women were not allowed in McSorley's. One of their slogans for a while was literally, "Good ale, raw onions, and no ladies."
Can I also just point out the fact, what is up with the raw onions?
I don't know. I mean, that's the weird thing to me. It was like, I go to a bar back in the 1930s to get away from my wife. I mean,
I know that was a thing. You know, obviously I don't agree with it, but I know that it was a thing. But what was up with the raw onions?
I don't know. That's what they kept the ladies out, because they knew if there were any ladies there and they had raw onions, then they would not be able to, they wouldn't stay anyway. So. After promising her father she would keep up with the tradition of no ladies, Dorothy refused to step foot in the bar while it was open, only tending to business on Sundays after it was closed.
Which is kind of crazy. And it wasn't until a lawsuit in 1970 that McSorley's was forced to allow women to enter the pub.
By that point, Dorothy's son Danny had taken over running the bar, and he wanted his mother to be the first woman served, but she still refused, citing the promise she made to her father.
Which is very sweet, but also kind of sad.
Hey, she's got some honor. I'm down for that. Like, that's cool.
I respect the decision, but also 1970.
Yeah.
Anyway, 7 years later, in 1977, Danny sold the bar to Matthew Mayer, who had actually met Danny's father while on a trip to Ireland in 1964, when his dad's car broke down and Matthew gave him a ride. So Danny's father promised Matthew that he would give him a job if he ever came to New York.
And he did. And he got hired as bartender. Even though women patrons were allowed in starting in 1970, a women's restroom wasn't installed until 1986.
I don't know what they did.
And Matthew's daughter, Teresa, became the first woman to work there in 1994.
Yeah.
That was 28 years ago.
It was not that long ago. I mean, it was, but I don't know. It feels like it should have been longer ago.
The 90s was not that long ago.
So only 3 families have operated McSorley's since 1854.
It has a very long history, but it's been in the same spot for 168 years.
It's crazy in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Apart from them now allowing women to enter, little else has changed. The place is almost exactly the same as it was when it opened in 1854. Yeah.
And when we visited, we were meeting up with a very old friend of mine. So we didn't really get a ton of photos and video clips because we were just really excited to see my friend, who Adam had never met before. But I've known this man since I was 15 and we hadn't seen each other in years. So we were really excited to see him. So we apologize for the lack of videos and photos that we took.
So we looked around to see if he was there, and a man approached us and told us, "You should sit here," and then asked light or dark. And we were so confused, but it's because they literally serve two kinds of ale, light and dark, and that's it.
Yeah.
You got your choice.
It was funny because the man wasn't in any kind of uniform or usual like bartender or cocktail waiter attire. He was just in regular clothes, and we were sitting there like, does he work here? Is this a thing?
The only reason that we followed is because he was very confident in the way he asked us. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And within a few moments of us saying light and dark, we had 2 mugs each. On the table in front of us.
Yeah, that's right. When you order a mug of ale, you get 2 because the beer is cheap.
Yeah. But it's tasty.
Yeah,
it's nothing like crazy craft beer but it is their own brand of beer.
Yeah, but it's now bottled and you can buy it on the East Coast.
It wasn't really something that I would seek out unless I was at McSorley's.
Yes.
And the bar is cash only.
Yeah.
When we went to pay, we kind of pulled out some cash, in front of the man to give to the man who sat us, or told us where to sit, more like. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah.
He took the money and then he left.
And and that was it. And then we took off. Still don't know if we actually paid for the beers or not. Maybe we owe McSorley's money. I don't know. But it was very casual, and that's what I loved about it, is that it was so casual, and it was so, like, we were there for the first time, and the guy treated us like we had been going there for years. Like, it was really nice. I really appreciated it.
Yeah. They tried serving liquor in 1905, but it did not go well, and they stopped almost immediately.
I tried to find stories about what happened in 1905, but the only thing I could find was that it ended abruptly. So I don't know... I don't know if people went in thinking it was an ale house and then got super drunk and caused problems, but anyway. So it's just beer. Straight up
light
beer.
or dark. That's all you get.
Light or dark. When it first opened in 1854, it was an Irish immigrant, working man's pub. So when you ordered beer, you would get a free cheese and crackers plate. Because they wanted you to eat and keep drinking beer.
And they still serve food, mostly sandwiches. They are not free like the cheese and crackers used to be, but they're relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, for being New York City and being a pub, and the sandwiches aren't anything to write home about, but definitely if you drink enough beer and you get hungry, they're there and it's good. It's definitely good. There's also sawdust all over the floor to make the inevitable beer spillage easier to clean up, because they were not gentle about slamming those beers down in front of you. And they didn't. I think they served 2 because the mugs are never totally full. It's always a third head. And so it's because they just fill it quick and give it to you and drink it and then go.
You'll really never have to get up from your seat, because the man who served us was really eager to bring us more beer and whatever we needed, really. Yeah. So overall, it's an ale house. They serve 2 types of beer. You know exactly what you're going to get. And it's comforting, Yeah,
the next time we go to New York City, I will be able to go sit at that exact same table, granted if it's open, but sit at that table and it'll be like no time has passed.
Yeah.
Like that, for a drinking establishment, that's incredible. The comfort and the history of it is just so good. And I had such a good feeling just immediately going into this place. You could feel the history there. Or maybe it was the ghost of John McSorley, because he died in the building.
We review bars, breweries, and stuff like that every week for what we call Thirsty Thursdays. Sometimes we'll also share a cocktail recipe for you to make at home. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel to find a bunch of other cool places to grab a drink all over the world.
Make sure you subscribe for all our future Thirsty Thursday segments, and we will see you in the Great Wide somewhere.